Hi, this is Rachel the Dime Diva, and welcome to my no makeup tutorial and story time, of course. We have to do that. Um, so today I'm going to do a light, breezy, everyday no makeup look, kind of just like your bare face, but a little bit more elevated. So let's start off with the Daily Facial Moisturizer. This is the Cetaphil 35 SPF, and I do try to avoid my eyes so that they will not sting um, when applying this moisturizer. So the topic for today's story time is why I love being cringe. So the idea for this topic came from actually a conversation I was having with my younger sister, Lauren, who is a therapist. So we were all at dinner up in San Francisco for my parents' 40th anniversary trip. And we were just talking about like culture stuff and what's going on in the world today. And we brought up kind of like the demise of cancel culture and the rise of cringe culture, where people make fun of folks for being allegedly cringeworthy, embarrassing, and that's like a big insult. So anybody who watched my last tutorial for the full glam knows that I had an empty bottle of the Tarte Double Duty Beauty primer. Well, I got a new one. So let's put this on, my favorite primer, to kind of set off the makeup. This was such a pretty little pink color there. So cringe is used widely, basically to mean something that is embarrassing, makes a person look lame, the opposite of cool. And I just realized, like, you know what? I want to talk about why, for me, learning to not care about being cringe and learning that I don't care about being cool, I just care about being me, has led me to so much freedom and has let me be happier than I've ever been, in terms of just like happier with myself and more in love with myself. So I'll talk about a couple of things that I used to think are cringe that are not anymore. In my opinion, I think they're cool for me and I love them, and why they have helped me to feel free. So this is my base for my no makeup look. This is the Maracuja tinted highlighter from Tarte. You can see that Tarte is one of my favorite brands for sure. So with this one, depending on how robust I want my base to be, I'll either put on one layer and allow it to dry, or I'll put on one layer, allow it to dry, second layer, allow it to dry, then move on. For today, we're just gonna do one layer and allow it to dry because I want it to look a little bit more natural. So on this no makeup routine, you actually don't need any brushes. So that's why I designed it, so that if you're like on the go, if you're traveling, if you forgot brushes, whatever, you can do this routine with just your hands. And it allows you to move accordingly. So I really like it for that reason. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some of the primer on. You don't really need too much. You can see how much I have here. It's not a huge amount. It has a lot of slip to it. It's not too thick. It glides on really nicely. And so you don't need to use too much of the primer, or not the primer, I'm sorry. You don't need to use too much of the tinted moisturizer. I'll put it on one side and then the other side so you can kind of see the difference. So let's go back to the first thing that I decided was not cringe, that I originally thought was cringe, and that is selfies. So those of you that have followed me on social media in the past 2 years or so 2 to 3 years know that I post selfies pretty much every day. It's one of my favorite things to do. I just like trying to explore different poses, different lighting. It gives me a chance to just engage with myself, ground myself in the day, honestly, because I'll just kind of be sitting where I am and I'll be like, oh, you know what? I haven't taken a selfie today. Let me go see where the good light is. Let me see where a good scenery is, background, and take a selfie. Now, before my daughter was born, before 2020, I never really took selfies. I thought of them as kind of cringe and embarrassing. I was like, who's full of themselves? So you can see here this side that has the hydrated primer on it, or hydrated and tinted moisturizer on it, and this side that doesn't. So it does have some coverage, even though it's not a full coverage. It's a light coverage, and it just gives you a little bit of extra tint, and it makes the skin look a little bit more even. We are gonna do some light concealer on this look. For me, I prefer that just to make it look a little bit more finished, but you can actually do this look without the concealer. So back to selfies. Once I had my daughter, I felt like I wanted to express myself with her and take pictures and record videos of us together. And then I started to just do it by myself. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun. This is a good form of self-expression. So for me, I used to think selfies were cringe, but now I really like them. The second area that I've grown a lot in terms of shifting from a cringe mindset to a cool mindset is my taste in music. So you guys, I used to always be so embarrassed of my eclectic taste in music when I was growing up. You know, when you were in school, if you're a millennial, back when we had the not the AirPods, but like you had the headphones that would have the two different chords coming from that middle chord. And so sometimes when you would be in class or something, somebody would ask you to share your chord and like play the music that you like, or like kind of share your music with them. And I would always be so embarrassed because I would have like so many different bands. I would have like Incubus, I would have Sheryl Crow, but then I would also have like Ludacris, and I would also have Ying Yang Twins and Lil Jon. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is so embarrassing. I don't want anybody to know about my music taste. Okay, so I'm gonna do, while this kind of sets in, I'm going to apply the concealer, which needs to dry as well. So this is the Double Duty Beauty Concealer by Tarte, my favorite concealer. I use this all the time. And for me, because I tend to have a little bit more pigmentation under my eye, I like to do a concealer even when I have a no makeup look. The difference between this one and my full coverage is just the amount of concealer and how I'm going to blend it out. I'm not going to use a sponge. I'm just going to use my hands. And I'm not going to let it dry as much so that it can kind of blend more seamlessly in with the tinted moisturizer. Okay, so while that dries, let's also put on our blush, because we want to let that dry a little bit too. So this I actually got as a mailer. It was like a mail-in package with, I think, my Rent the Runway subscription, but I've been using it ever since and I love it. I've been using this for months and I'm going to get more when I run out. This is called the Wander on the Glow. It is a blush and it's an illuminator. You can see that I already used up all the illuminator, so I already need to get a new one, but I'm gonna use the blush. It's a nice pinky color, but it's not too over the top. And put that here. Put that here. Not too much. It's gonna make it, you know, look pretty natural, like we have like a natural little rosy color going. So with music. So what I started to do is I began sharing my taste in music on my social media. And I would do that by like putting songs in the backgrounds of my pictures, or I would go ahead and, you know, post lyrics from Apple Music directly onto my Instagram story, or onto my threads. And that would allow me to kind of feel like I was expressing myself and sharing my taste in music with people. And honestly, it's been really liberating. It's been really exciting. It's been really fun. And I'm glad that I've tried it out. I'm glad that I got over the fear and the anxiety of being cringe in terms of my music taste. Let's see, what is the third area that I wrote down that I was worried about being cringe? Okay, for sure. This one is good. This one is using slang terms. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go in just with my hands, and I'm going to spread this concealer. I'm going to try to smooth it out into the creases. And the great thing is it does not have to be perfect, because we are going to come in with the powder, and that powder is going to even everything out for us. I actually used a little bit more concealer than I typically do for a no makeup look, but the thing that I love about makeup, you guys, is that it's literally art. You don't have to be perfect. Like, there's no such thing as perfect anyways, right? But every time I do my makeup, I do it a little bit differently. I did this same no makeup look yesterday. I went to a happy hour with some friends, which was really cute. It was really fun. And I used less concealer, but I just have a feeling that it's gonna turn out just as well, even with me doing a little bit more concealer than usual. So, you know, it's just part of the process. And like I said, after we blend this all in with the fingers, we're going to bring in the powder anyways after. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using different fingers for the concealer and the blush, just to ensure that it doesn't like melt into each other and that there's a little bit of differentiation between where the blush is and the concealer is. Even though we really do want them to like be more of a gradation, we want them to blend and all like mix and get together. Okay, so let's see, using slang terms. So when I was growing up, you guys, there were certain terms that I felt like I was not, let's give an example, the word tight, like, oh, that's tight. I feel like I couldn't say that. I feel like it was so embarrassing because I was seen as somebody who spoke in a more proper manner. And so people would be like, oh my gosh, why is she trying to speak, you know, ghetto? Why is she trying to talk like us, speaking from, you know, the Black people? Let's see, this is the Tarte Creaseless Setting Powder in Honey. And this is one of my favorite setting powders. I'm actually gonna get a tissue and wipe my eye a bit, because in the process of using my fingers, I realized that I was spreading my what is that called? SPF onto my eye area, which I try to avoid. And actually that kind of tells me anyway, that's like the universe telling me that it was better for me to wipe off a little bit of the concealer, because I feel like that looks more natural for me. So all's well that ends well. Okay, and back to the slang terms. So yes, it was, you know, being a Black woman who speaks in the manner that I do, growing up, sometimes I was called an Oreo. Sometimes I was called a, you know, like I was trying to be white. Sometimes I was called a Valley girl. And that was hurtful, of course, but it also led me to feel like I can't use slang terms. So because of that, I've started just incorporating different terms that I like into my daily lingo and lexicon, even if I feel like people might think it's cringe. So for example, I love to use the word period. I love to use, I believe it was coined by the City Girls, in Young Miami and JT, of the City Girls, the rap group, where they'll just be like period to emphasize a point. I love that. And so now I use it and I'm like, you know what? If you have something negative to say about it, that's on you. If you think that I'm, being cringe or lame, too bad. Okay, so you can see that the powder helps to even everything out. And the no makeup for me comes in where like there is still some, you're seeing some of my pigmentation still, right? Like everything is a little sheer. Nothing is too caked on, and nothing is layers of coverage. This is like a thin veil of coverage, basically. Basically, in my opinion, the point of the no makeup is to like just even everything out. Is to just create a face of like almost like you have a filter on your face with Instagram, where like for me, I enjoy using filters that don't actually really change the structure of my face, but just kind of like smooth everything, give everything an even tone, and then also maybe add some lashes or something. But I still like to look like myself because I don't ever want to be a catfish where like people see me in person, they're like, oh, you don't actually look like that. But then I also don't want to start disliking my actual own face, right? Like, cause that's something that can happen if you use these really heavy filters. So yes, going back to, for me, cringe being cool, that's one of the things for me is using slang terms. Okay, so for the highlight, I just do a little bit, this is the ColourPop Flexitarian Super Shock Cheek highlighter, and that's my favorite highlighter. And this, because usually if I'm doing like a full coverage glam, I'll do like a I'll blend this with a brush, because when you're using your finger, it absorbs, that skin absorbs more of the highlighter. But for me, I want more of the highlighter to be absorbed here because I don't want it to show as much. I want it to just look like, oh, does she have a natural glow from the sun shining on her face? Or is that highlighter? Interesting. That's what I want the effect to be, basically. And finally, as I put on my mascara, the last cringe item that for me, I've decided that I want to just get over is being silly and goofy. So this is the LYS Love Yourself. This is their mascara. I don't know the name of it. Let me see if I have the mini version that I can give you all the name. Yes, I do. This is the mini version. So it's called Lash Confidence. This is the larger version. They just, I've used it so much that the label wore off, which is great. So being silly and goofy. So for me, I was bullied growing up. So I learned to just try to stay either stoic or cool or mean, because I felt like that made me less vulnerable. And I in some ways developed like a holier than thou attitude, like I'm better than y'all, like I'm above it all, I'm the princess, I'm the queen. Or I would be like standoffish, and people all this time said that I thought I was quote unquote all that. And I was like, actually, I have low self-esteem. Now I am developing higher self-esteem and really learning to love myself, which I'm so happy about. But because of that, I have a really hard time letting my guard down and being silly, because I'm like, if I show this silly side of myself and this vulnerable side of myself, it's like showing your softness. And I feel like I can get hurt. So you can see here the difference between this eye and this eye. I'm not even going to use any fake lashes because I feel like it's making the eyes pop even without lashes. So yeah, that's been a big part of my healing journey, is learning how to be silly and goofy and let other people think I'm lame or a loser. Because you know what? I realized that like part of being a unique human being who is really being themselves is some people either not liking you and or thinking that you're weird, lame, or cringe. If nobody thinks you're weird, lame, or cringe and nobody dislikes you, you're probably not being your authentic self. You're probably being a person who has a mask on and is being a people pleaser. So that's something that I've had to learn, is just to let myself be goofy, silly, random, blurt things out. I have a sports page, Rachel the Dime Diva, and we have a sports show called Hoops, Helmets, and Heels over there. And so on that show, I just recently had an episode where I was doing music. I was doing like a music overview, and I was so proud of myself because I let myself sing. I like rapped a little bit, and I felt like, you know what? I am coming out of my shell and I'm allowing myself to be me. So I'm proud of myself for that. Now it looks like I do not have my lip gloss with me over here, so one moment, I'll be right back. I'm going on camera for a second. So I must have worn this lip gloss last night when I went to happy hour because it wasn't even in my makeup bag. Oh, perfect, here it is. So this gloss is my favorite for a no makeup look. It's called Gin Nude. It's by Bare Minerals. And it just gives you like a little pop. It's another thing where like, look at the color of my lips, the natural color of my lips versus the Gin Nude. It's so similar. It's literally just like my vision for a no makeup look is literally just your face enhanced. So this is how my actual face looks, you know, with nothing added. And this is like the color of my lips are just slightly enhanced. So I love it. I love me. Well, thank you guys for letting me share my journey of learning to embrace my cringe, love myself more. And this is my completed no makeup look. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.